Okay, as heard by Clayton there, so very nicely. Welcome to the first rendition of Gammons Den Podcast. We are very happy to bring to you today this wonderful new podcast that we've come up with. Obviously, we're not expecting anything out of it because who does? But we're just going to be talking absolute crap about stuff like ham and football and just food in general. So, how are you feeling about this new podcast, guys?
Subscribe.
Drink.
Some nice words from you two there. So, we're gonna be starting today with our ham review that we'll be doing every day. Unfortunately, Ewan doesn't have any ham with him. I know, idiot.
Right, the pandemic has severely limited my supplies, I am afraid. I do apologise severely.
But what do you have with you today, Ewan? What will you be reviewing?
I will be reviewing some chicken, actually. Chicken that's come through the post, so I'm not extremely excited about eating it.
Oh, did I hear the chicken came through the post?
Yes, it came. Right, yeah, let me explain. Right, because we have a cat and we also have a grandmother, two things that for some reason
they love chicken.
Wrong. So my grandma decides that she wants to always send over some chicken for the cat, Sebastian. What a cat, by the way.
Stolen this chicken from your cat. You are literally.
That's
your cat.
Right, it's for the cause. It's for the cause. What can I say?
That's true. The vegans already hate you because you've ordered chicken, but you've stolen it from a living animal. Like, come on.
Exactly.
You've stolen.
To be fair, I'm helping the cat be vegan. I'm helping the cat be vegan.
The cat be vegan.
Arguably.
So, do you know what? So do you know what?
That vegan teacher proud. Do you know she actually starves her cat of her dog of meat nutrition? Yeah, sorry, what were we saying?
So where is your?
Because it's ham.
Because it is ham. Where is your chicken from? Do you know what shop, or is it just anonymously sent from
I have absolutely no idea.
So your grand's got a chicken dealer.
Well, I need to actually grab it, which I probably should have done before the podcast, but here we are.
That would have been a good idea. So while Ewan is getting his chicken, I will be explaining what I've got. I have got some Ashfield Farm wafer thin cooked ham from Aldi, I believe. It's smells pretty hammy. Not the greatest ham in the world, but we move. Clayton, unfortunately, won't be having some ham as he is pescatarian.
I'm a solid pescatarian myself.
You are a solid
pescatarian. Any ham on me.
So you'll be asking questions about the ham as well as whoever's reviewing it will be answering it. So looking forward to that. So we'll wait until Ewan's got his ham, and I guess we'll come back to you. So Ewan is back with his lovely chicken from his grandma. So Clayton's going to be asking me about it.
Ewan, as you have recently acquired your chicken, I would like to know.
I have indeed.
What's his texture like?
I've got to be honest, Clayton. Texture-wise, it is very, very poor. It's quite gritty and not exactly the nicest delicacy I have eaten, especially chicken-wise. I'm going to have to give it a low 2 out of 10 on that situation.
How much did it cost?
It costs £1. It costs £1 actually.
So you can't really expect much from the chicken.
So going off value-wise, 12 pieces of chicken for £1. I would give it a strong 8 out of 10 on value-wise. It is very well valued.
That's pretty good. Well valued chicken.
Taste.
Now, when you go past the entire texture part of it, it doesn't actually taste that terribly. Let me just have another bite. No, it still tastes quite mank, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for taste.
So you would say you're over decent start, the chicken from Ewan. Like I said earlier, I have got this lovely, what is it called? Ashfield Farm wafer thin cooked ham from Aldi. Let me just have a quick taste. I have to say, opening the pack, it smelled very eggy. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but seeing as it's ham, I'm going to go bad. I've just taken my first bite. That is pretty. That is like cheap ham at its finest. You can taste the processing of that. You know when you used to go to like Tesco and that when you're younger, and you got those sausage things that are shaped like a bear.
Yeah.
It tastes
I'm
like
with
one
you.
of those, and I hated those.
Oh.
This is pretty flimsy meat. You know, it is wafer thin. It does say that. Does what exactly
Well,
what it says in
I
the
was
tin.
going to ask. It says wafer thin in the name. I was wondering, does it feel like paper when you eat it? Is it that thin?
If you're saying paper is like it has no taste, I would say yes, because you can definitely taste the salt in it. I'll give it that. But other than that, it tastes fucking disgusting.
But would you argue that it's not paper thin? Would you claim that there has been false advertising in
No, it
this
says
packet
sorry,
of ham?
it's wafer thin, not
Wafer
paper
thin.
But paper is obviously smaller. That I think I've read somewhere that the average paper is like a millimeter wide. Like, it isn't a millimeter. This is probably about 5, which is how much taller that I am than my dad. Actually,
Really?
taller than my dad now. Yeah, but again, taste wise, it's not good.
Can we get a
Yeah.
out of 10? You know, a 5.
Well, for the advertising, it is wafer thin. It is cooked, and it is British pork. So I'll give the advertising a solid 8 out of 10. For the texture of it, I'll give it a 2 because it is it's not very nice. And for the taste, again, I'll give it a 2. So overall, it's gonna have to be like a 3 out
Oh
of 10.
no.
I would like to know, is there any improvements you would make to this ham?
The improvements I
curious
would
about.
make is I would make it taste something more than salt. And
Salt's pretty nice though.
yeah, and I would probably, not sell it in these massive family packs that probably cost about, I don't know, £1 from Aldi probably, because in fairness, the due date is 16th of February, so you have to eat it. If you're not on the rich side, you're forced to eat it in what's the date today? The 6th. You're forced to eat it in the 10 days, and there is a lot of slices in here. In fairness, there's I'd say about 30 maybe. So
That's got to be pretty good value then.
So that if you put
Yeah.
it in like a ham and cheese sandwich where the cheese can overpower it, I'd say it's good. If you're eating it on your own, it's not very good.
Now, if you guys who are watching this video are probably wondering, Clayton is actually pescatarian,
He is, yeah.
which is he's a slight fraud because we're on a ham podcast and the man is pescatarian.
Hey, we
Pass
respect
that
it.
for now, okay? We'll pass
we'll
it
move.
for now. It
He
doesn't matter.
He can get some corn ham to review one week, possibly.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe perhaps next week.
So, the ham reviews, or the one ham review and one chicken, they're over already. It's gone well for their first one, but
We're running low
chicken-
on ideas already.
the chicken.
Ham. We've seen some football between
We
a
have.
team called Fulham and West Ham, and here we have Will. Would you like to tell us about that game?
So I've literally half an hour ago I've got back from watching the game with my dad, and it was a pretty cagey game at best. Fulham played very well. West Ham, we weren't our usual selves, seeing as we've just beat Aston Villa 3-1 with an astounding performance from them, especially Soufal. But we weren't on our best today. We had, I think, 8 attempts on goal, next to Fulham's about 20. Luckily, they only had 3 on target, but
So
you
you're
don't
saying
shoot, they don't
Fulham
score.
were on
Yeah.
top.
Fulham were on top, yeah. Fulham were miles on top for at least 90% of that game. We had a few good spells with, say, Benrahma, but I think we have to address the elephant in the room. The Soucek red card. While he did elbow him in the face, it is not a red. I've been saying beforehand, there was an Instagram account who put, was it a red card? And then the comments are all, never, and Mike Dean should go get a life. Bring all the attention off him. I think it was just, it wasn't a red. It wasn't intentional at all.
As we know, Instagram polls are the source of all knowledge when it comes to football.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
exactly.
So-
No, we need to discuss another elephant in the room, Will. Jesse Lingard, of course, this is his second
Yeah, that
performance.
is true.
After his first very, perhaps overwhelming debut, do you think he lived up to the hype in this game? Did he show the same qualities he showed in that first game?
He did.
In this one?
His movement off the ball again was very good. Not near as good as against Villa, but you know he wasn't in the game as much. Same with say Ben Raba and Bowen. Even though they got took off after 50 minutes, I think it was, they just weren't in the game at all in the first half. They couldn't get on the ball very much. Fulham again defended very well. You know, Haller had to go off. Didn't really contribute anything to the game. Again, we only had about 8 shots and only one of them was on target, so Lingard just wasn't as good. But it was a disappointing result. But I think the point is good for where we're at now. I think we're 4th in the table, maybe 5th. But Forest today, Clayton, hello. Forest win 3-0 against Wickham. Not an unsurprising
Not the strongest of opposition for us, but for us it's a very good win in our relegation battle, you know?
Yeah,
Our
that
new
was
signing,
a
Glenn
relegation.
Murray scoring a brace in his full debut.
Yeah,
Which probably should have been saved from the goalkeeper. He got a hand to it, but he missed it sadly. So we got the goal.
yeah, that is good. 1 penalty as well. I see Anthony Knockaert scored the 3rd. He's a good player for you at the minute.
He's been alright. Not the best performer, but he's been pulling goals in sometimes.
What do you see Nottingham Forest achieving this season? Do you think you'll be comfortably out of the relegation fight? Do you reckon you'll be strongly in the relegation fight? Or
13 points off the top 6. But that's, in the Championship, a very big gap. So I can only really see us
never
getting
know.
mid-table. Unless we pull an Arsenal Invincibles for the rest of the season and don't lose a single game.
It's
I
true.
mean, the Nottingham Forest do have ham in their name, so they will be capable of incredible
They do.
things.
And
which-
it's a bit unfortunate for Wickham because my dad actually knows Gareth Ainsworth. Not he's more of an acquaintance, but he one of his best friends called Barry Richardson was once the keeper at Wickham. He was in fact the lowest rated player on the game on FIFA 17. They're quite good friends. He was very good for Lincoln City back in the mid 2000s, and he's also been at Hull. He knows like Jared Bowen and Andy Robertson quite well. So he's done some goalkeeping coaches there, and I remember a few years ago now, about 6-7 years ago, whenever it was Wickham versus Southend in the League 2 playoff final, and now they're in the Championship. It's a great achievement for them, especially the playoff win last year. But I think it was just too big of a stretch for them to do any well.
That's a shame. A shame. But tomorrow, of course,
Liverpool versus Manchester City.
We have a very, very big game coming up.
That is a very big game.
It is, and I've got mixed feelings about it. I feel like Liverpool right now are a very inconsistent but still very threatening team. And of course, for me being a Manchester City fan, that does concern me, because I'm not sure whether they're going to play like they did against Tottenham, or are they going to play it against they did pretty much any other time this season. And it's very concerning.
They're just a different class. West Ham didn't play well against them, but Liverpool were incredible on the counter. They were great in defence, and they're just—it's like you get your teams like your Cities, your Liverpools. They're just so much better than the rest of the league, and it's blatantly obvious to see that.
But then, of course, you have other teams in this title race discussion, like Manchester United. Well, how do you think they'll do this season?
They've had a very good season so far. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been surprisingly well. He's probably been building the project for a while now. Forget the first 2 seasons of him in charge. This is the season that Man United have been needing since 2013, really, ever since Ferguson left. And it's been really good so far. They had a few dodgy results, Sheffield United, but they've also been obviously winning 9-0 against Southampton. 9-0 against Southampton. There you go.
I'm not sure how much of that scoreline
reflects, yeah.
with, of course, the red card in the second minute. Very unfortunate for that
Yankovic,
debutant.
what is he doing?
I feel so bad. I do feel very bad for him. It was his debut. He must be absolutely gutted. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens next. Really, this
Yeah,
title race,
100%.
I believe, can go literally any other way.
Yeah, there are quite a few teams in contention this season. You know,
The outsiders.
It's not been a boring season. Obviously, I know I'd love to do it, but realistically, I don't think West Ham will get anywhere above 6th place this year. I just don't see it happening. I know that's a bit pessimistic, seeing as we're in 5th.
Which is still very, very good.
You know,
That's like you.
at least I've said to my dad the other day, if we have a good cup run, like maybe FA Cup run, maybe semi-finals, even final, you know, quarter-finals I probably wouldn't take, but I would take like a 10th place finish if we had a very good cup run and just focus on that. You know, there are, again, a lot of title contenders. You know, City have been immense this past month.
Yeah, they have been very, very incredible.
Is it all wins? I mean, West Ham have had all wins bar 1 in January. So that's really impressive for the Moisaya. But obviously you mentioned Man United. There's also Leicester up there.
Leicester, yes, that's very much a shame.
And you know, even up to Aston Villa, who are only 12 points behind City. They're content. Maybe obviously not for the title, but they're probably contenders for good European spot.
I think it's teams like, as you said, West Ham and possibly ending 6th, and Aston Villa, who are going to make it's going to make it very hard for teams like Arsenal to break into European football. And speaking of Arsenal, it's getting to a point where I'm not reckoning Arteta's the right man for the job. When Arsenal played well, they have played well, but
Yeah.
I guess again when they played poorly, they played very, very poorly, and they lost today, didn't they?
They did, to Villa.
They lost to Villa, and it kind of summarises it, I reckon, the inconsistency they have. And I think when it comes to this, you have to look to the manager and maybe even the players, because Aubameyang, even though he had those 2 goals last week, he massively drops off.
Yeah, I
feel like
totally
what
agree.
went wrong though was selling Emi Martinez to Aston Villa, because the game he had
That's a
against
big turning
Arsenal
point.
today, or yesterday, I can't remember when the game was. He was absolutely immense. He held the goal, stopped everything from going in, and stopped all of Arsenal's really good chances.
Yeah, and
I think he was actually better than what Leno is now.
And of
definitely.
course-
Matt Ryan played today because Leno's on a suspension. But another big thing about Arsenal is the lack of performances from Willian. He has been awful this year.
It's been.
What was it? First half of the season, 1 shot on target. It's just not good enough.
It's just not what Arsenal were looking for. They were looking, when they signed him from Chelsea, they were looking for experience. They were looking for a player they could look to in times that they were struggling, who could give them kind of like a level head. And that's not what they've got at all. They've got a very inconsistent, old-looking player, which kind of adds to their problems. And I think they've had quite a decent summer, definitely, of course, with their signings.
Yeah, and you saw like the first half of the season when they were down in 16th and that was shocking, and then they had like a kind of quote unquote great escape. Wasn't really what Sheffield United are doing. It I would explain as a great escape, but they were getting back at it. They got up to like 7th, and now they've just dropped down again. It's like the inconsistency seeps through the team.
And it kind of affects anybody. What do you think about Sheffield United then? Because they've, of course, won a few games now. They've started to look like they're building up momentum. Do you think they will be able to utilise that and avoid the drop? Or do you reckon their damage has already been done?
Yeah, as much as I want Sheffield United to go down, I think it's very impressive from them so far. Obviously not the first, 17 games of the season. It was poor. Week in, week out, shocking displays. But I think what they've been doing in recent weeks is very impressive, to say the least. So...
Yeah, you're not wrong.
we waffled on for that for a bit. So see
Let's
you
just
in a
hope that hope the whole 3 people who watch this video are all football pass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why there wouldn't be. Okay, so we're going to be having a quick gander through the best subreddit, food porn. You ever been on this subreddit before, guys?
Surprisingly, I have not. You know, it's
I haven't.
something I commonly
I've seen the first submission and I'm not excited, to be honest.
No, you're not. No, a lot of the stuff is better than this, but looks like a pretty good cake. Looks pretty tasty. Very creative idea, I have to say. But your girlfriend and her parents are Lego figures. They bake good cake though. Not the funniest comment, but
the peak of comedy.
the peak of
That's
comedy.
hilarious. Right?
Yeah, so,
is it too late? Is it too late to change this podcast topic?
So
Can we
oh
just
my
move on, please?
god, what is this?
What?
Jesus Christ. Not the very
Not the
best,
very-
but I'm 14, and this is all homemade mac and cheese with buffalo wings. My first time with both. I can
this
tell
person
it's your first
Mexican?
time.
Are they Mexican? Because it just looks like refried sick.
Oh, that looks mank. That looks genuine mank.
What can you get you out of that?
It looks
I'm
like
14, therefore I'm bad at cooking.
yeah. It looks like if rice pudding and mac and cheese had like unprotected sex, and just had a baby after smoking and drinking for the whole 9 months. Right.
That looks like solid cheese.
Got some burgers here. These don't look too bad actually.
I'd eat
Yeah,
that.
no,
That onion's
I'd eat
No.
that. I'd eat
Could
that.
have a bit more than just the burger and, from what we can see, one bit of onion. You know, could
Yeah.
have a bit more.
Could have had a bit
Some
more
fries,
onion.
some fries, definitely.
I would devour that, to be honest. This pancetta, I think
That's
also-
cursed.
That is
That
cursed.
just hurts my eyes.
That looks like a
I-
fetus.
Of course, you've had
no.
a very wide experiences with fetuses,
I
William.
mean, yeah, that looks good in fairness. That looks. I don't know if it's
Does
just
it
the
though?
angle.
Does
that
it
does
though?
look very nice. I have just had
Disagree,
pizza,
you
so.
know.
It's a
It's a
breakfast
bagel
pizza.
pizza with scrambled egg.
I think
Scrambled
it's very nice.
pizza.
Finest.
I mean, breakfast pizza is better than chocolate pizza. You ever had one of those? This just looks like a
Surprise.
school dinner.
No, that just should really have a burger, not random meat thrown in.
What is
with a bit of
that?
cheese.
It looks like cooked
coleslaw.
Rice Krispies.
Look, roast ham on ciabatta rolls with homemade coleslaw and Swiss cheese. I don't really like that. They
I'm
look
not a fan
like
of coleslaw.
they look like
They-
the salt and pepper chips crisps rather than actual
They
fries.
they need cooking more. Should we rate these? Should we rate these?
Hey, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd give that about a 3.
I'd give that
It
2.
looks like something you get served when you're on like a residential trip.
Yeah,
if
right.
you've gone-
You keep telling me about this Spain trip you went on. That looks like the quality of the food you have there.
Yeah, school trips. It's just the food is just... Yeah, funny story about a food story on a school trip. It was in France in year 10, so last year, and I got food poisoning from some chicken in a sandwich. I ended up having to shit myself in a woods. Now, it's not a very nice tale, because I've been needing a shit all day, and my poetry reading was coming up, because it was a poetry trip. It was not very nice. It was a bit boring. You know, walking to battlefields all over France. Well, not all over, but, you know. Yeah, my turn in the Somme, I had to read it while needing a shit so bad. It was the
I hate the feeling. I hate the feeling.
I was holding it in all day for like 4 hours. We were about an hour away from where we were staying. So I'm like, miss, please, I will actually poo myself. I need to go to the toilet now. So she gave me permission to walk back to the bus. So I'm walking on my own about a mile down the road to where the bus was. Everybody's watching me. Year 9s, year 10s, year 11s, year 12s, year 13s, and teachers, and the tour guide are just watching me walk on my own with my hands in my pockets in a slight jog, trying to get back to the bus before I literally shit myself. So I get back to the bus. I say to the driver,
Casual.
"Look, I know I'm supposed to be over there, but Miss gave me permission to come back because I am going to crap myself." And he said, "Oh God, the toilet's blocked." and I died inside. I don't know if it was the massive mound of poo clogging up my rectum, but I'd never felt so worried in my life, honestly. If I ever get married and I have a baby, I'll be less worried by the time I was on a school trip and shat in a woods. Oh my.
Doing the ham review now.
Carry on that story, but on my Spanish trip, I think it was year 8 or year 9, where someone actually also got food poisoning from chicken. It was he had diarrhea.
Oh god.
You don't
I
make
had
me-
diarrhea on the way back.
Going to toilets.
You're not making me feel confident about this £1 ham now. I gotta be honest. This £1 chicken now. You're not filling me with confidence, guys. I gotta be honest.
Talking about food poisoning, what the fuck is that?
I'm gonna say this person's probably gone to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, bought this dish, but then taken it home and cooked it again.
In a microwave.
It looks like they had a perfectly reasonable meal, then they just slapped a bit of bread on top.
No, what they've done is I don't even think is that even bread?
Fish, mate. But it
Yeah,
looks like
it's
someone
fish.
put a marshmallow and they put it over a fire, but
Yeah, it's like a s'more. Also, why
As a
why
fish.
is there a flower? What is the point of that? The presentation. Obviously that's food
again,
point.
Gordon Ramsay's
That
restaurant.
is food
So
porn.
that's a 10 out of 10.
That
That's a
is
10 out of 10.
I don't think I
immense.
could eat that. at
I
all.
would eat the
It's
whole thing.
really
Who,
good.
if you eat
You
the whole
die.
thing of
You
that,
die.
you deserve a medal
No,
You
no,
die.
no.
and
You would
diet
literally
and
have
diabetes.
cardiac arrest.
If you eat that, you do instant diabetes. No question.
Not
But
What?
that,
you would
if
just
you had
die of
like,
cardiac arrest.
no, you're true.
Well,
But if you scaled
straight.
that down to a normal slice of cake, that would be very nice.
I'd eat
That
that.
was, that
I
was
would eat
like
that.
a very nice chocolate cake. This doesn't.
That looks nice. That bread looks nice.
I'm more interested in the view than the actual
Yeah, I
sandwich.
know. That's like less food porn, and more just
This
view porn.
this man, right, has bought a sandwich, hiked up to a view, then whipped out the sandwich,
you
taken
know
a picture.
You know what I'm finding interesting in this picture is
Yeah.
all those clouds are in a line and they all look exactly the same.
That does look very. That's pretty sus, if you ask me.
Is that the point of the photo? Is he just posted it on the wrong subreddit?
Yeah, no, I think he's actually just talking about the clouds more than the time.
More than the food, you got the stuff hanging over there. I like this bit. Sandwich with a view in Marcia, Italy. Also, not pictures. A can of Moretti beer.
I'll give him that one. He's
give him that one.
improved a bit.
Give him that one.
These
Oh,
onion rings.
oh.
Oh wow.
Onion rings are lovely.
I can't
This looks
lie,
like what would
everything
happen.
on the plate is tasty, but that looks like it's been in the deep fryer at least an hour too long.
Yeah, I know.
Looks
It looks like if like a really shit posh restaurant thought of the idea of frying stuff. It's got squid in it, which I do like, and parmesan encrusted calamari, which is nice. The red
Well, it
sauce
looks
I
like-
can't see, but yeah.
It kind of looks like something I'd find in like the bottom of the ocean, like some sort of creature that eats
Yeah.
algae.
I remember it reminds me of when I went to America and we went to this quite famous place called what was it called? Clammy's Clam Shack or something along those lines. And it was just the greasiest thing ever, but it was immense. It was so nice because
Yeah.
it was just like they don't give a shit about your health. They just pour as much salt and as much grease to it as possible. Just fry it perfectly. You know, your onion rings, your calamari, stuff like that. It just looks so. It was just so nice. Just, I mean, you can only have one in like a year of your life because if not, again, if you had that and then this chocolate cake, you would die of 2 cardiac arrests. But
Would you
my god, it was nice.
would you say that's the best restaurant you've ever been to then?
No, I wouldn't actually, because
No?
it was busy. The atmosphere. It's not just the food you got to think about. It's the atmosphere as well.
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
was-
yeah, exactly.
It was busy, tons of tourists. I know we were a tourist, and we're annoying tourists in America, but tons of tourists around, kids. The food, I remember, took about, 50 minutes to get there, because they were so packed. They do actually have, merchandise and that, but apart from that, it wasn't
So you wouldn't
wasn't the best experience. It was in a nice place, though.
the best place I've ever eaten. Oh god.
Spanky's Clam Shack. Spanky's Clam Shack, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. But sorry,
There was-
you were saying?
There was this pub in Scotland, and oh my, it was just the most friendly place ever.
Yeah, I got that
The
at a
peop-
pub in Scotland when I went.
Like they gave me goat's cheese pizza, like goat's cheese pizza,
Who needs that?
delicious,
It's so nice,
delicious.
Though, isn't it? Yeah, when we were in Scotland, because we were trying to save some money for a different trip, and there was this place really nearby that we could walk to. It was this American-style breakfast diner, and we got like 90% off the meal with these vouchers that my mum has, and they were so friendly as well. It's like you know how as a Brit, you're legally not legally. You're not allowed to take a shit in a public bathroom because it's just so embarrassing. I took two
Oh, of
shits
course,
in that
definitely.
bathroom. I took 2 shits in that bathroom. I love that place. I would love to go back because the food was great as well.
Yeah, if the bathroom is completely abandoned, I'd go for it. But
Yeah.
if not, no way, absolutely no way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nobody walked in. It wasn't very popular, but it was fucking nice.
Oh, it's when you leave the door unlocked there by accident. Oh my, it's horrific. It's I
Oh
think
yeah, I know.
I think somehow I was more
You haven't
scarred than the
done that.
person who saw me.
You haven't done that, Ewan, have you?
Oh, I've done it several times, mate.
Ewan, you gotta lock the door. You gotta lock the door, man. I mean,
It's
in your own
weird.
house, you
I
forget.
just want to know how the hell you forget to lock a door.
No.
Like, it's the main.
I did it. I did it. I did it the other day. Like, I think
Oh.
right. I'm never gonna ever do that again now because of that. And then I end up just. Oh gosh, I like it's so horrible. I feel
Are you talking
it's
about like
ruined the rest of my day.
forgetting to lock the door in your own house?
Yeah, like and public places. Like
And
it's
public places is bad. The house, you don't really feel it because you used to hear the door opening, like no, and then they just kind of leave it. At least that's what it works in my
Yeah.
house.
yeah, that's what I do. But still, it's kind of
my
like
upstairs bathroom doesn't even
phew,
unlock.
that's-
The doors isn't even shut, so I'm forced to go like no.
really? I
Whatever.
must be like so. That just must be really awkward. Like you must be on edge the entire time.
Not really. It's not a very big one. It's more like I'm imagining yours is kind of a big bathroom, but
I mean, if he does hear someone coming, you know he's just going to scream no.
yeah, it's like if you hear somebody coming and you're taking a dump, you don't just let them come in.
Yeah, to be fair.
It's
yeah.
like you almost want them to
You
see
just
you.
join in. No, you don't do that. You
Yeah.
scream no.
Get out, I'm
Okay.
dumping.
But no, you know what? I was
So, I guess.
thinking of letting you join in while I'm on the toilet, but no.
Yeah. After,
I
se-
want to leave.
after seriously contemplating it, the council has decided that you are not allowed to stay. Please leave.
Right, so as you can see on the stream, we have got chicken and waffles. I've never thought that as a combo.
Then are we going to ignore the sweet
think-
porn
I-
behind
Yeah,
it?
what is
I think that's
that?
for a reason.
Yeah, but are we
You
just going to
Yeah,
ignore the
it's just
sweet
the-
porn as well?
Is that
My
an
dad-
olive on the top? What's
an
that on the
olive.
top?
I don't
It's
think that's an olive, mate.
jalapeno,
It
I
looks
think.
like yeah.
But my dad always says that he hates sweet and savoury things, and when he's saying that,
Oh.
he means like he hates cranberry sauce with Christmas dinner, and he hates pineapple and pizza. I like both of those things.
Oh.
I like both of those things, but if you've got savoury chicken, excuse me, and sweet waffles,
Mm.
that is not no, you're not allowed.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
That is disgraceful behaviour.
That's an hour. Like, just eat it separately. Like, have the chicken. Like, yeah, that was a nice meal. Now I'll have dessert of waffles. Like what? Are you that impatient? Are you? You want the waffles so much you
You want
decide
the
to chuck your main meal on top of it?
Simultaneously, you're like, let me put some honey on this, you know, get the chicken frying up
Get
with some
the
lemon and
chicken
sugar.
out.
And then we've got this one, which is
Can
doing
we,
which is
can we
doing
just go
sweet
back up to
rye.
the chicken and waffles?
Oh
for
yeah,
a
yeah,
minute?
yeah.
I think that picture would be better if we just
Took the.
removed the poles and just looked at the sea.
And it's not a very nice
I
view.
agree.
And I'm really intrigued at where that is because I really want to go now.
That does look very nice, to be fair. I think it's probably somewhere in like the
I
Bahamas.
fancy a holiday right now. You know, I really do.
It'll be quite hard to figure out like where that
No
is by this
logistics.
picture, but I assume it's somewhere in like the Caribbean, maybe.
I don't know how much they're fining you from leaving your household to go to the other side of the world,
He
but I
lived
can't
there. You
I
just,
can't-
you know, he
It's-
could live
imagine.
It's
It
not
would
as much.
there.
It's not as much as the fine you get for this fucking monstrosity. Now this is doing
I'm-
sweet. This is doing
personally,
sweet and this is doing sweet
I'm
right.
personally saying that is worse than the chicken and
Really?
waffles.
I think
mean,
that would
for your,
work.
for your
Banana's
cholesterol,
ruining
I
it.
agree. For the cholesterol, I agree, but that does look very nice.
I agree. I think that could work. I mean, of course, I prefer
If that had,
as much chocolate as
yeah.
you can onto it, but I see that
I
working
don't like
if you
chocolate with that.
actually
Chocolate with
wanna
fruit, no. Apart from strawberries.
live.
But if that was like English pancakes rather than these American puffy pancakes or Scotch pancakes, whatever you want to call them, that would be a lot better.
Japanese souffle pancakes.
Oh, they are Japanese souffle. Never heard of that.
Man, you were beating Overton.
Also, that is a
Oh,
nice.
no.
Look, that's like a classic grandma plate. That is.
It really is.
That
Oh,
looks incredible.
I'd pay thousands. I'm gonna be honest with you. That looks the best dessert in the world.
cheesecake and strawberry.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's strawberry cheesecake.
Is that tomato ketchup?
No, it's no. It's a straw.
That's, he's just chucked some
It's
fucking
not
ketchup on it.
This Reddit has made me question
It's
every single
not
combo,
ketchup,
right?
you
Yeah, this is ketchup and that's a tomato.
No, it's a strawberry and then there's strawberry sauce sort of thing.
Yeah, come on, Ewan. You gotta have. You got ketchup with cheesecake. I've heard
I'm
people.
down for that one.
I've heard people having ketchup with some mad things in it.
Probably someone in America, to be fair.
No, I would argue that. I would argue that.
That is a lot of ketchup. You gotta go conservative on your ketchup. You can't just have that
She just
much.
looks like someone slit their wrist.
I then go, you know what? I'm gonna hold this over my cheesecake.
Cowboy chili. That just looks like a pot of chili. Who cares?
'Cause it is.
Yeah, I know. This looks interesting. Pork gyoza for the first time.
I wouldn't know what it looks like normal, so
No, what
I
is
can't
that?
really
It looks
say anymore.
delicious. It looks absolutely delicious.
That looks not. Oh my god.
That's just
That
impressive.
is impressive. That is.
95-year-old Levain.
I can't imagine
Whatever that
I
is.
can't imagine the white bits tasting very nice, but it looks good at least.
It's probably just flour, to be fair.
Oh yeah, true. Well, we've scrolled through food porn a bit.
We have. It was quite enlightening, I reckon.
It's a good subreddit that you should subscribe to. You know, there's also the
Yeah.
Instagram account Only Scrans, which is it's less of this. It's less of like these kind of things, like more food art, if you can call it that, like
Yeah.
sushi
Yeah.
and these sorts of. And it's
Offers
more
and-
just like greasy fish and chips and like pizza and like roast potatoes. I sincerely recommend it.
I'd just like to thank you all for watching this horrible monstrosity of a video, you know. Whatever we're waffling about, I apologise. But yeah, thank you for watching.
So the podcast has been great this week, wouldn't you agree, guys?
I
Going
couldn't
off
agree.
topic.
Genuinely, if you sat through around 30 to 35 minutes of this, and you've got to this outro, like, fair
I'm
play.
impressed. Yeah.
Fair
You know,
play.
it's just talking I'm gonna be open with the ham and chicken review because that's the main thing. If they want to switch off there.
Do you reckon it kind of encapsulated the audience?
I doubt
I
anybody's
reckon so.
listening to this, but thank you anyway, and just subscribe to Dobbed
Yeah.
because it's
Subscribe to
cool. and
Dinkle. He deserves all the love.
if you don't, you'll have the vegan teacher.
Thanks,
in your
guys.
bed tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time we do this. Whether it's in a month, in a week, in a year, we don't know. Goodbye.